folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. All right, this is the United States premiere of the KAVAN L-39 Skyfox. First time, as far as I can see, I've scanned the internet right this morning, and I'm the first one in the United States to be reviewing this thing, so yay! Sent to me, I worked a deal with FPV Builds up in West Babylon, New York. Anthony, FPV Builds RC, and things I put, the only thing I've modded is I've given her a KM model afterburner. Thank you, KM Models. I've got a SMC 5900, their new Generation 2 pack. They're all black and purple packs. And I've got a KM model, well, I told you that. The other thing I modded off camera that I mentioned, and this is a miss on their KAVANs, they don't have any plastic or anything on protection, and when you don't have a battery in here, the plane will walk down on its tail. So I put a piece of clear packing, I gave a heavy coat of clear coat, and I gave a clear piece of packing tape on it to protect that foam. Weak point is these tips right here, they're weak right here. So just be aware of that. You might want to put a little piece of little piece of carbon fiber or something inside that in order to get that reinforced. Listen to this gear.
The gear is down.
It does take a few minutes. Now I'm going to set it for 3.5 minutes. Right now we have no wind at all, so it doesn't really matter which way I take off. But I'm going to land from the west. So I'll go down there and take off that direction. I'll land that direction. So, all right, I'm going to fly in manual mode right off the bat. Okay. And my high rates. Okay, up, down, right. Okay, right aileron, left aileron, up elevator, down elevator, right rudder, left rudder. And this has one of the strangest sounding EDFs. It sounds like an out-of-tune radio. But I listened to Rick's Jet Garage. He's the only one that I've seen, or well, that and the two brothers in Slovenia. But I couldn't hear their EDF. But I could hear Rick's EDF, and his sounds just like, it sounds like an out-of-tune radio. Listen to it. But it was perfectly calibrated. Okay. Alrighty. Timer set for 3.5 minutes.
Timer reset.
Okay. High rates, no gyro. We're going to see how it goes. This is for trimming and the Maiden. All right.
Takeoff flaps.
All the control surfaces, flaps, everything are by the book, except for the rudder. I did my own on the rudder.
Flaps are up. The gear is tucked away.
I did not see the thing be takeoff.
Okay, that's fine. Very stable.
Time remaining 3 minutes. AS3X
All right.
mode.
I don't need. It's perfectly trim, so I didn't need to turn my AS3X on now. Man, this thing. Flies like an L-39.
The gear is down. Landing flaps. Time remaining. Flaps are up.
All right, flap settings are perfect.
Landing flaps. Flaps are up.
Man, what a great flying jet.
Landing flaps. Flaps are up. The gear is tucked away. One minute.
All right.
The gear is down.
Well, folks, there's a reason why
Landing flaps.
this plate is $600. And it even has an outrunner, believe it or not.
Seconds.
Now,
20 seconds.
Boy, that sounds strange, but
Flaps are up.
good performance. And the other this other Skyfox that I've heard run sounds exactly the same. So can't really, I mean, I got a good ways away from that ESC, so I can't tell if there's any ambient heat, but you have direct flow over that ESC in order to cool it. So okay, the lights are definitely very, very bright, so that helps. Now let's check the battery, and if we have enough juice, we'll go up and go ahead and get our stall testing out of the way. Okay. Oh yes, battery is slightly warm, 56% left. So let's take it up again, and I had my timer set for 3.5 minutes, so I can readjust my timer for the next flight for 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Still had 15 seconds. I'll just leave it at 4 minutes and be safe. But yeah, let's do our stall testing, and we'll put it back in manual, and we're going to take off again. It doesn't have much steering authority, but I guess that's why I increased it to 125 on the rudder. Does have a big old, I got a cross breeze happening right now. It's got that big old rudder. All right, but the flap settings, I can't talk today. The factory suggested flap settings are perfect. All right, we're going to take off. We're going to do in manual mode again, and we're going to see about what kind of stall she does.
Timer. Flaps are up. The gear is tucked away.
She'll turn around on a dime. All right, you're flying along, you lose power. Clean stall, hands are off. All right, she just kind of turns into the wind and starts going forward, diving forward slowly. All right, clean stall this time. Hold up, elevator, 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 elevator. Okay, right wing, I think. Can't really tell. Really doesn't favor any one wing or the other.
One minute. The gear is down. Landing flaps.
All right. She wants to naturally rise. I'll have to go around.
AS3X mode.
All right.
Minus 2 minutes. Flaps are up.
Boy, it does. It sounded like an old-timey out-of-tune radio, but no problem. All right.
Moto is so chill. Touch it. It likes it.
I know I get a little risque with my audio call-outs. Definitely a very, very successful Maiden. Very successful Maiden. Anthony, you got a real nice plane here for sale. All right, 21%. And we went, let's see, 3.5, 5.5, 5 minutes and 5 minutes and 38 seconds. So really 5 minutes of flying. And what I say, 26% left. Okay. All right. 21%. All right, set your timer for 5 minutes. Fly the way you want. Now that's with a 5900 SMC pack. Okay. Let me just go ahead and take the pack out. I want to show you. Now, however many flights we're able to get in today, depending on this weather. See how it naturally sits back? They should have some plastic back there. This is the all new. Let my precious focus in on that. This is the new SMC pack. Okay. If you charge it at the 4.35, you get 5,900 milliamps. If you charge the regular 4.2 on a traditional charger, you get 5,100. So no matter what, it's a 5,000. However, wait right there. I want to show you. I'm just going to show you something real quick. Tell me, wait right there. You're behind your computer screen. Of course, you're not going anywhere. I want to show you something. Now the pack now is fairly warm. It's not horrible, okay? But this is a traditional 5000 6S, and this is the 5900 6S, okay? And as you can see, they're basically, the regular 5000 is actually slightly longer. This is a little bit thicker, but they're almost basically the same dimensions, but you're getting almost 6,000 milliamps out of this one and 5,000 out of this one. Now, yes, this is a $119 battery and this one's a $60 battery, but these SMC packs last longer and you get the full performance out of them the entire arc or the entire cycle of the flight. Most lipos, you have all your main power in the first half and then they start bleeding off towards the end. Well, not so with the SMC packs. You get power of the entire arc of the flight. So it all depends on what you want to pay for. But these are good packs. They were sent out to me for review, and I had already bought 3 or 4 of them of the other SMC packs, and I was really impressed with them. And I just emailed them. I said, hey, could I review a couple? And they sent me 6 of these. And so, hey, and they said, you know, give us an honest review, good or bad. Tell us what you think. Put it on the channel. So there you go. I'm happy. These are good batteries too. If you can't afford these are good. But it's more about lipo care. You know, don't keep your lipos charged up. If you're going to keep them charged up, use them within a day or 2. All right. If you're going to let them sit for more than 2 days, discharge them down to 30%. Okay. It's just, I mean, I've got probably $20,000 invested in lipos in my big tool chest. We all seen my tour, and some of them lipos I've had for over 7 years, and they still work really well because of lipo care. It's more about the care of the lipo. It's probably 50% of it is how you care for them. Now, a cheap lipo, you know, you get what you pay for. Well, there you go. Back to this and off my lipo rant. This was an absolutely fabulous Maiden. This is very much, a lot of engineering went into this. This is KAVAN's first venture into EDFs, and I will tell you, they got a lot of things right. They should have put some protection back here. These little wing tips here need to be reinforced because that's pretty thin, and loading that in and out of vehicles is going to get broke. The lights are nice and strong. They put regular excuse me, mechanical hinges on the flaps, but they got pinch hinge with laminate reinforcement on the ailerons. I would like to see mechanical hinges on everything. If it's a control surface, it needs to have a mechanical hinge, not a pinch hinge. They did good on the latch. They got plastic cladding on a lot of the areas that are wear and tear spots. Your nose is plastic. This is plastic. They should have put some plastic on the wingtips here, but so far, if this is how they're going to do their EDFs, they got a good trend here. This is going to be really well. And this is an officially licensed Skyfox. This is what you can actually see this plane in real life. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for watching, Anthony. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. I can't wait to get this thing up again. I got my stall testing. I want to get some more inverted flight and see how my CG is. And I want to drop my GNS performance analyzer and get a speed test on this thing. All right, more flights to come. Stay tuned. And after all said and done, we'll meet you back in the man cave and we'll talk about all of it. God bless y'all. Guys, good. We'll see you there. Well, hey, folks. All right, second flight of the KAVAN SKYFOX L-39 80mm with the out-of-tune radio sounding EDF. Second flight now. First flight I established stall, I established inverted. Everything I think I like to do on a Maiden. Got to make sure she's trimmed, so let's just take her up and have some fun with her now. Flying in my AS3X. I'm going to try to get one more flight in this evening. And the third flight hopefully be a speed run. This flight's just going to be just to kind of get more of a feel for her. Like I said, I've only had her up in the air twice, 2 takeoffs, 2 landings, maybe 3, I don't remember now. And that's how that EDF's supposed to sound. I've listened to another person flying theirs, and it sounds exactly the same as this one. So,
takeoff flaps.
The factory settings on the throws and the flaps are perfect. I went right down the book with it. Alrighty. Okay, here we go.
Up. The gear is tucked away.
Gear do take a while. Boy, them lights look good in that gray sky. Man, that's a great flying EDF.
Time remaining 3 minutes. Take off landing flaps. Flaps are up.
And I'm that comfortable with this thing on the second flight.
The gear is down.
A lot of turbulence up there right now. Uh-oh, got a storm coming. So I'm wanting to do a landing with no flaps. And that was it. Now our grass
Remaining 2 minutes.
Our grass is way too thick to do grass ops. I'm sorry, I'm not going to damage the gear. Alright, I'm going to take off with the wind like you're not supposed to, but I want to see how she reacts.
Flaps, the gear is tucked away.
No problem at all. And that's an outrunner. Snap rolls, no problem at all.
The gear is down. Landing flaps. One minute. Flaps are up.
I feel actually, this plane actually kind of scares me. And what I mean by that,
Take off flaps.
I feel too comfortable with it too soon.
Flaps 30 seconds. Landing flaps. 20 seconds.
All right, we're going to get her landed now. Check this battery.
10.
That was really stupid on my part.
Flaps are up.
I should have powered out of that. Oh man, that was stupid. Now that, folks, is an example of what not to do. All right, we're 11 seconds open. Let's see how this gear, see how much damage I got, because that was pretty rough. Okay.
The gear is tucked away.
Okay. Let's see if they come down now.
The gear is down.
The entire gear assembly is metal. Not just the trunnion, not just the back plate. The whole thing is metal. And I just noticed something I didn't notice in the build. They have a hardened brace, a U-shaped brace, to catch the back of this gear here. That's something people 3D print and put on all their free wing planes. Well, they did this at the factory on this one. She tough. You saw what I did with that gear. You saw how I landed. I bounced like horribly. 0 damage. Okay, we're talking about plane. Talking about the plane being $600 some odd. Well, starting to see why. You know the old thing, you get what you pay for? Yeah, I think that's why this thing is $600. $600, I don't know, it's $639 or whatever it is. And that was with a regular battery. Oh, I forgot, I didn't have an SMC pack this time. I had a regular LiPo in it, and I'm 11 seconds over. Got a regular 5000 HRB. Hope I didn't cook the battery. 34% left. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So she's good on the battery. She can take a beating on the gear. She flies very, very scale. She flies very, very fast. She's very, very aerobatic. She also will be docile for you. Yeah, this is a great plane. This is an absolute wonderful plane. And I want to say Rick's Garage, I want to say he's Italian. I think he kept saying bellissimo. I think that's good for Italian, or beautiful or something like that. And yeah, I agree with him. Great flying plane. This is the, yeah, we got to probably get out of here. This is the SkyFox, folks. Second flight. Unbelievable plane. Absolutely unbelievable. She is tough. I need to get off this field before I get hit by lightning. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good one. God is good. We'll see you back in the man cave. Maybe it'll blow over and we get a speed run in. Well, hey, folks. Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Fat Guy Flies RC studio. All right, we did the maiden flight. We got 2 flights in, and then I was going to do a speed run on the KAVAN L-39 SkyFox. However, Mother Nature stepped in and started with storming, and we couldn't get the speed run in. However, we got the maiden flight and the second flight, and I'm going to be honest with you, this airplane scares me. And I'll tell you why it scares me. It flies so good, and is so locked in and so familiar feeling to me that it scares me. I'm afraid I'm going to get lulled into a very false sense of security with it and do something stupid with it. It's a very good flying L-39. It flies like an L-39. Should. It's an L-39. It flies stable. It flies fast. It flies slow. It has one of the strangest sounding EDFs I've ever heard. There's absolutely no problem with the performance. It's just very, very different sounding, and you can definitely hear it on video. It's fairly loud. Does it have that deep, throaty growl? No. It has a different, it's an outrunner. And it's very unusual that they would put an outrunner in 2025. And it's not necessarily that outrunners are outdated. It just is not what I'm expecting. Now the norm is inrunners. However, I was getting a full 4 minutes plus out of a 5900 SMC pack, which is what's in here now. And actually more than that, but 4 minutes is where I set my timer, and I'm coming back at 20 and 30% with no problem at all of running like over almost 5 minutes. But 4 minutes is a safe place to put it. But needless to say, you can watch the video. The thing flies amazing, looks amazing, sounds cool in a different way. It's not what you normally expect. Does it have the typical turbine sound? No. Now when it's going by at full speed, it does have a different sound. It's not bad. It's not necessarily a good sound or a bad sound. It's just different. Definitely not a deal breaker. And then some people may actually like the sound. I thought it was cool. Not what I was expecting. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just not what I was expecting. Okay. Now the only thing I've done to mod the plane, I've given an afterburner, the KM model afterburner. Thank you, KM models, a version 5. I've given it a clear coat, and I have put some packing tape on the underside. Let's go ahead and get the negative things about the plane out of the way. Let me back up a little bit. KAVAN, this is their first venture into RC jets, okay? KAVAN, KAVAN, however you say it. And there's a couple of things about the jet that are negatives that are simple fixes for future editions. Number one, anytime you have a wing like this, you have these little outward structures here, okay? Now let me just show you this. This is something you need to be aware, especially since this is apparently the first U.S. review, United States review, okay? Just transporting the thing, look right here. See right here? This little piece of foam, this is very weak, okay? So I would put a piece of carbon fiber up in there, okay, to strengthen that. So KAVAN, somebody's got to give me an audio file on how to say it. This needs to be structured. This needs to have a stronger structure because that's going to break off pretty easy, okay? You need to have, there's no tips, no plastic over here. There needs to be some protection, okay? A biggie, anytime when the battery's obviously in it, when the battery's not in it, it tips back on its tail, okay? Well, that is just bare foam right there. So I've got the clear coat, but I put a piece, I don't know if you're going to see it, see it's already kind of marred up. I put a piece of packing tape on there to protect that foam. This needs a little 2-inch by 2-inch square of plastic, KAVAN, that needs to be in there to protect that, okay? The other thing is in regards to the instructions. I understand that texting all that out and things can be kind of tedious, but you should have the instructions along with the pictures, okay? Not list of the instructions and then 3 pages back the pictures, okay? Gets a little confusing. You got to remember, when you're making these manuals out, make the manuals out for idiots. I'm not trying to say we're idiots, but make it out for idiots. Make it out for simple, okay? The more simple, more precise, and more exact that you can keep it, you know, then that helps. The other big thing, that's the manual. On hinges, you went through the trouble. This is where you're talking about long-term ownership. You got some beautiful mechanical hinges on the flaps, but you have a pinch hinge on the ailerons. No, this should be a mechanical hinge, okay? You've done the same thing with the elevator. You have pinch hinges, okay? And then you got a pinch hinge on the rudder. Now, they're quality pinch hinges, okay? And they're laminate reinforced, so that's good. But for a US I think what's it, $620 or $630 EDF, okay? Freewing is a big brand, you're a big competitor. Their $400 EDFs have mechanical hinges, not foam hinges, okay? So that's an area where you need to improve, okay? Now, having said the negatives, that's really the only negative. Now, putting the model together, there was little quirks about putting it together, and having to glue the tail on wasn't that big of a deal. You had nice carbon fiber reinforcement in order for that to glue. I did put 5-minute forget turtle tank brand or DAT brand epoxy, and that's fine. That's not that big of a deal. You've got plane went together really well. You need to make a little better adjustment for your wiring and everything, okay? Personally, if I was asked what a wish list for designing this plane, I would not have gone with an in-runner. I would have gone with an outrunner, okay? A lot of people who get these, they like to put out afterburners in them. And like Freewing, other companies know that, and they put in-runners, and they even go so far as put little bolt holes in there where you can just bolt your afterburner on. That would be a nice touch. Not a have to, but it would be a nice touch. And with the in-runners are usually a lot more efficient, and you get more flight time, and you can get just as much thrust and performance out of them. However, this particular outrunner was very efficient, very powerful, and had a very unique sound. So I'm going to give you a bonus on that. Okay. Now let's talk about the things about the plane I like. How much time do y'all have? Number one, these LEDs are some of the brightest LEDs I've ever seen on any model. Number two, they don't blink. I hate blinking lights. Okay, I want to be a constant. For orientation's sake, things that start to blink, you know, as long as I got some constant, I can put up with the blinkers, but I prefer constant because that way for orientation, it's easier. Okay, to have a constant. That way I know what I'm focusing on. Okay, the plane looks amazing. The detail on the cockpit and the pilots. Okay. That just absolute is amazing. That you've done a wonderful job on that. Okay, okay. And there's just other than a few things, the negative things. It's a great flying plane. It handles well. It flies fast. It flies slow. It can be docile. It can be very aerobatic. On the second flight, I think I was snap rolling in it, and I felt so comfortable. That's why I'm scared about this plane. I felt so comfortable with it from the get-go that's what scares me. I'm going to get complacent with them, and I don't want to crash it. I've got for my setup, I have an AR 637TA. Okay, I didn't set the telemetry up. I don't ever mess with that. I know I should. Had absolutely no problem with signal at all. There is another. What was the other negative I have? Shoot. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. And dang it, it was a biggie, too. Oh, the gear. The gear on this thing? Man, you want to talk about... You watched on that second flight, on one of my landings, I bounced this thing like 3 feet off the ground a couple of times. I choked. I should have powered out of it. Instead, I committed to the landing, and I thought sure that I was going to bend a gear. No. This is some of the strongest, most stellar gear I've ever seen on a plane. I mean, this for EDFs, retracts.
The gear is tucked away.
I don't know if that's warm drive but there. I mean, there's a motor in each one of these.
The gear is down.
But the entire gear is metal. Okay, not just the trunnion, not just the back plate there. The whole thing is metal. Look at that. The whole thing is metal. Now, other thing. Look at that brace plate right there. See that brace plate? All us guys are getting 3D printed ones for our free wing jets. We've already done that. You've got a brace plate there, and that ain't going nowhere. Okay? So, them landings, hey, this is some beefy. Look how strong those springs are. We're talking some honking heavy-duty springs. Okay? This is some stellar gear. Stellar gear. Okay? The other thing that, and I understand programming and ESCs and everything, you offer thrust reversing on your ESC, okay? Don't leave it, this is a negative, I just remembered this, and this is that big one. Don't leave it to the end user to have to program the ESC to enable thrust reversing, okay? We're idiots, okay? We can't do that. Go ahead and have thrust reversing, have it clearly labeled. I mean, you have the big yellow wire there. Have it labeled. That all you have to do is plug it into an empty port on your receiver. Okay, like that's what we're used to. Okay, make it easier for us. If you make it easier for us, we're going to buy more of your product. Okay, for a higher end product like this is by price, that should not be something we have to do. Okay. I'm sorry, it's not that hard, but to try to explain it to someone how to do it, that ain't easy. It takes hours to figure it out. So it can be done. But so no matter what, in real time, if you want to enable thrust reversing on this, you'll have to go through a series of beeps to enable it. You must have an empty channel on your receiver and dedicate a 2-position switch, which I highly recommend putting on the bind button, because you don't want to accidentally, but that's an entirely different argument. This one does have it, but you'll have to enable it. I like the ball links on this thing. I like the fact that everything was hooked up, with the exception of, no, everything was hooked up. Yeah, you didn't have to hook anything up. The thing was perfectly trimmed out of the gate, with the exception of one of the flaps. Now, the screw-in ball link was almost completely unable to be adjusted, so I had to adjust it at the arm of the servo instead, and therefore I had to cut into the foam in order to get the arm off, and that is because I just could not get the it was yeah, this one here. Okay, so that little triangle of foam, that little dent, okay, this would not allow me the ball link adjustment. It would not allow me to screw in or out. I mean, it wouldn't do it. It was like locked. So I had to go in there and adjust it here. And these weren't even in sync with each other. It's like this one was a few clicks in, so it made this flap that was already hooked up off, and that's why it caught my attention. So I said, well, I'll just pop that off of there and twist it in, twist it out to make it match. Well, I couldn't do that. This would not adjust. So that's something, you know, that's one of the little detail things. That may just be with this particular model. And that's a nitpicky thing. It's a shame I had to cut in the wing to fix it, but I got it fixed, and both the servos now are linear or in line with each other. And that's the biggest thing I need to do. And that you have to adjust the arm. And, of course, the angle, you can't get in there because the foam right there. All right. So are there some negatives to the plane? Yes. Are they deal breakers? Absolutely not. Some people may not even see those as negatives. They're just minor gripes. Okay. What really matters, the KAVAN L-39 SKYFOX has it. It has got presence in the air. It's got a very unique, commanding sound. It has incredibly strong gear. Put up with my landings. It did great. Ease of flight, fun of flight. If you're getting into EDFs, and if you're wanting to go this route, and this could be your first 80 millimeter EDF, not your first EDF, but definitely could be your first 80 millimeter. Very, very easy flying. It puts you, if you got any flying, any EDF experience, 3 or 4 EDFs under your belt, you're going to love this thing. You're going to absolutely love it. All right, now let's talk about my setup and how I flew the plane. First off, beautiful
Motor is hot.
KM model afterburner. All right, see that EDF, how it sounds? A little higher pitch than what you may be used to. All right. Okay, let's talk about the rates. Okay, the rates that I flew in my high rates. Now this is by the book, and I'm going to tell you what the spectrum is. Okay, you look at the instructions, you can look at the millimeters and everything, but this is by, actually I may have covered that in the build, I'm not sure. But this is the spectrum translation. Ailerons are 100%, and I chose 30% expo. Okay, this is high rates. Elevator, 120, 30% expo. Yes, I could go on there and mechanically change it to leave it at 100%. I didn't do that. It is fine. Okay, there's some people out there who berate me about that. I don't care. I did electronically. It works fine. I'm happy with it. Okay, rudder, same thing. 125. Now that is not by the book. I like a lot of expo in my rudder because I don't have a nose wheel gyro enabled on this because I don't have the channel for it. But the rudder wire is separated. You had to put it into a Y, so you really could do that if you want to get an 8-channel receiver and go through the trouble getting thrust reversing. But so I got 125 on the rudder with 50% expo. That's how I flew. Absolutely love the way it flies. I was very, very happy with that. Flap systems. Now this is also, I went by the book on ailerons, elevator, and flaps. Rudder is my own creation. And the flap settings were spot on, absolutely perfect. Flaps up in spectrum are a negative 100%. Takeoff
flaps
are 15% with a 15% down elevator mix. Landing
flaps
100% positive with a 20% down elevator mix. And we can't really see it at that angle. Okay.
Takeoff flaps. Flaps are up.
All right. And that, in a 2-second deployment, absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, AS3X gains, or AS3X settings, okay. All right, the gains that I flew in on roll, 25%, pitch, 40%, yaw, 50%. Priorities, all at 100 on roll, pitch, and yaw. Didn't do anything with heading, I never do. Stop lock, all at 50 on roll, pitch, and yaw. Did nothing with release rate. Gains are set at one-time gains. Alrighty. Don't have the nose wheel gyro. And one thing I noticed in the flying characteristics, if you're flying and you turn too suddenly, it's like you think she's stalling, but she like corrects herself and she'll turn on a dime quickly on you. The thing about that is she turns so quickly on an aileron turn, it's unsettling, but stable. Okay, she turned quickly on an aileron turn, so be careful. Your aileron turns, she will turn quickly on you, but she'll turn stable. She'll turn in a stable manner. It bothered me the first couple times. I'm like, whoa, but there was no problem. Okay, so the thing handles maneuvers, handles high-speed maneuvers really, really well. I flew her inverted, had like very little elevator, down elevator needed to maintain inverted, if I remember correctly. Stall, I could not establish which wing, if I'm remembering, because I didn't do 2 mains today. I couldn't establish which wing was going to drop. She just, and in a clean stall, or as I'm flying along, I lose power, I don't, hands off, she just started gliding down, okay? With a regular stall where you try to hold the nose up with the elevator, total power, and she just kind of did this number here, almost like in a high alpha, and then just dropped. So I couldn't establish, I mean, I'm pulling full up elevator, and she just kind of high alphas and did that number there. So what wing is going to drop first? I need to do a little more testing, try to figure out which wing is going to drop. That's that. Have no idea how fast she was going. I was going to do a speed test, but like I said, Mother Nature said no. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, CG. The other thing, KAVAN, and I know this is just the design of the plane. The CG on the plane is 80 to 85 back for the leading edge root. That puts it right about there. Okay, and because of where it's at on the underside, it's on the corner of the wheel well here, right here, this little triangular area. So it's kind of hard to feel that. So if you want to do it from beneath, just put your fingers basically in this triangular area here on both sides with the gear down, which is the way you should do it anyways. Because I have found that I want it's more important for me my CG to be right when she's landing. But if I put my fingers on that triangle, and that's right between 80 and 85, and she's just about perfect right there. Okay? Alrighty. Well, folks, I can't think of anything else more to talk about. Is she peculiar? Yes. Is she a performer? On a scale of 1 out of 10, and 1 being a pile of crap, and 10 being the best jet I've ever flown as far as performance, this is an 11.5. This thing flies amazing, looks amazing. Honestly, when I went from manual mode to AS3X mode, wind gyro, really didn't notice much of a difference. Okay, the plane is incredible. Do I recommend it? Yes. Is she pricey? Yes. I can't deny that. She is pricey. All right, folks, but I'm very happy, very pleased. Anthony at FPV Builds and RC up in West Babylon, New York. This is a great plane. I am so glad we've got someone in the United States carrying these KAVAN products, because the more we can get them over here, the prices will drop if they're more accessible, to become more of a competitor what's already here. But I'll tell you right now, very pleased. I do recommend the plane. I don't recommend it for your first EDF, but I do recommend it for your first 80 millimeter class EDF. Y'all have a good, God bless y'all. And this is my opinion and my review, just based upon 2 flights, just my opinion on it. of the, so really not a review. You need to fly a plane at least, 10, 15 times to get a really good idea. But anyways, that's a different subject. But, y'all know me. I'm all over the place. But I'm very happy. I'm very happy, very pleased, and I do recommend this plane. All right, y'all have a good one. God bless y'all, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, God is good. And this is the L-39 from KAVAN. I'm going to keep saying it back and forth until someone tells me what's the correct way of saying it. And I'm very happy with it. Y'all have a good, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and let's keep them in the air. Bye, y'all.